I'm watching the time move. Okay. Hi. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning. And I got a call yesterday from the dealer. Okay, let me rewind. Hi, my name is Laura at Laura Talk Softer. Anyway, I started my YouTube channel, I don't know, last year sometime. Like it's been over 12 months. And it's growing little by little, getting some nice people, comment, share, whatever, invite other nice people. Um, anyway, so my car has been in the shop and I had it towed there and they're working on the um, some part in the gas pedal that communicates to the car to say, like, I'm giving it gas. Anyway, so they're replacing it, and they said that the other day they told me that the part was on the way, and I was like so happy to hear that because in the past, like I've had experiences where they can't get parts or the parts on a like submarine or a ship or some crap. I don't know if they're making up stuff. I mean, it's been different places regarding different cars where I've heard stuff about how hard certain parts can be, but this is a real common car, but it's also, a foreign car. I think it's foreign. It's definitely, I think, Korean. Anyway, so it's supposed to be ready around noontime. So I might walk over, like when they say it's ready, walk over there and get it. They keep saying they'll send an Uber for me, but if the weather's nice out, I'll walk. I don't want to jump in an Uber. But anyway, so it's going to be ready, but they said they're going to test drive it, to make sure that it's operating right because the whole thing had like kind of like it only did it once, chugging up a hill like I was pulling up a big ball. And then once it got up the hill, it sped up a little bit and then it was like kind of okay. But I saw what it did. And it did it in an area that could have been dangerous, but it wasn't the freeway, thank God. That would have been awful if it would have stopped communicating gas on the freeway because people on the freeway are driving so fast, and to have your car just, slow down, people aren't expecting that. But lucky for me, the emergency flashers are right there on the dash. Push them real quick, assuming they'll work. They've always worked, and pull over to the side of the road, I guess, if that happens. But I don't even like driving on the freeways and highways and all that anyway. But yeah, so back to my car traumas. I've been very, very lucky. I can remember this was a little bit before COVID. A friend of mine, her husband had a doctor's appointment and they both were not in really good health, and I would help them with certain things, and she's like, Laura, will you take him to the doctor? And I'm like, yes, I'll take him, and she'd come along and I'd take him to his doctor appointment. And she kept calling me, Laura, don't forget he has a doctor's appointment, such and such. Are you going to get here at whatever time? Now, people who know me, I am like very efficient and very prompt. If I tell you I'm going to be someplace, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be there even early. I can remember my dad told me, like, don't leave like at the last minute. You need to leave as if, if you get a flat tire, you got time to change it. So, not that I really know how to change a flat tire. I kind of know how, but I found that it's really hard to lift up the tire to put it on the tire thingy to put the bolts on, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, so she kept kind of harassing me, like, Laura, don't forget. It's like, and this went on for like the whole month before the appointment, even the night before that. Don't forget. And I said, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. And I had a different car. At the time. And so it was a 5-speed. It was 5. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-speed stick shift. And, sure enough, that morning I'm getting there early, and she lived in a, mobile home park. And so I'm going the route to her home, and I'm driving my car, and I'm going to pick her up, and I pull in, and it's off of a busy road, and I pull in to her mobile home park, and, I'm going slow, and I'm going over these big speed bumps. And I go over the first speed bump, and all of a sudden there's this big clunk. And I'm like, what the heck? And the whole car froze. The wheel even locked. And it was like, oh my God, and it was just jammed like the clutch. So I parked it, put the flashers on, and I was pretty close to her home. And then I went there and I said, my car broke down. I couldn't believe it. Here she depending on me. I am here, but my car is broken down like 20 feet from your home. And so, yeah, that was that. But what was scary about it when I had it towed and fixed, they said the clutch or something like fell apart. And I'm like, I was going very, very slow over a speed bump when it happened. Like, what would have happened if I was like merging on the freeway or changing gears on the freeway? So I've always had I remember I had a car, and these are cars I maintained. It's not like I'm driving like junk buckets. It's just like things happen. They say, oh, it can happen, and I got a new clutch. But I had another car. Now this car I had was kind of a lemon. This is going way, way back. And I was in my mom and dad's driveway, right where I'm at here now in this residence. I was in the driveway, and my I don't know if it was the engine, the transmission blew up. It was like that was also a stick shift. I was getting ready to back out. It was like boom. It was like the car didn't move, and so that was like good. It happened in the driveway. And then another car I had, I've had a lot of cars. I was going through the Wendy's drive-through, and the what was that part called? Because I learned a lot about parts. The timing belt broke, and I'm right at the drive-through, and it's like the car cut off. And there were people that were behind me in the drive-through, that pushed my car out of the way, and then I had it towed. And they told me I was very lucky. Because this is going back, that certain make and model, when the timing belt breaks, it could cause engine damage or something like that. But yeah, I've had some trouble with this car. It's had some recalls, and I always have trouble before the recalls happen. Early on with the car, when it was like brand new, it stalled out on me and they couldn't like repeat it. And then I didn't have any problems, but then I was trying to get in my trunk one time, and I never had this happen. I couldn't get my trunk open. So I had it fixed and the lock mechanism fixed. And then it was like a little while later, they had a recall on the locks for the trunk. And then what else? There's been something else. There's just always something with this car. Oh, my car is part of the TikTok Kia challenge, where kids were, jumping in cars and stealing them because they didn't put the, some part to stop the ignition from being started by pulling the ignition out and putting a USB port. There's some part in there that they decided not to put in the Hyundais and Kias. So some kids made some TikTok challenge showing how easy it was to steal Hyundais and Kias. It was really, they were showing Kias, but they're, both Korean cars. But nobody stole my car, when I heard about it, when I took my first road trip in 2022, I was I always try to like predict, like, okay, what am I going to run into driving across country? So I was like Googling, like, what are the rates of like car theft? And I'm here in California for my car. And the big problem that I was seeing initially, because all over every state, people were stealing the catalytic converters. So I had a cage built. I went to a muffler place, and they built a cage over my, catalytic converter. And not that they can't get through it, but, as quick as they get the catalytic converters off, it would be more of a deterrent, like maybe go to the next car. And I don't think my car was real popular at stealing those because it doesn't sit high up. They were stealing more like SUVs and higher like trucks and stuff. Plus, I think they have more, whatever the valuable stuff is in those catalytic converters, theirs are bigger. I don't know. But talk about like a criminal network. Every single state, has catalytic converters stolen. Every place. I looked all over the place, like catalytic converters in Hawaii, catalytic converters in Alaska. It was like everywhere was a problem. It wasn't just like my city and my state, So I saw in 2022, it was talking about in Omaha or somewhere in the Midwest that all these Hyundais and Kias were being stolen. And it had not yet happened here. It was not yet on the West Coast. But I thought, okay. So I bought a club for my car and put it on it. And just, when we went, my mom and I, we went to different, motels, hotels, tried to make sure I parked near, and went to places that looked like they were kind of, safe. And so there was that. And then it finally did hit the West Coast. And I had already had, always put my club on, and, so my car has never been stolen. And then they finally had the recall where they put the system in place that will stop that from happening. And they have little stickers on the window that I guess the criminals know this car's been, whatever, updated. Somebody was trying to save money, on the not putting that in. It's just, a lot of it is save money, whatever. But that challenge was kind of weird that these kids figured it out. And I kind of feel like some engineer for the company had come out and told somebody that, these cars can be started with a USB port, but it's only certain years of cars, and mine is a car with a key, funny key ignition. I don't have the push button starter. That always, I don't know. I don't like how they're making new cars. I just want a normal key, turn a key. I don't even have a normal key. It's a funny looking key. But anyway, so my car is supposed to be ready today, and that's great. And it just reminds me of when I bought the car, because I bought it December of 2016, and I had the other car that the clutch cable had broke and that I had fixed. I think it broke after that, or maybe before. But I was really driving my older car because I liked it a lot, and the car that I have now, I was letting my daughter use, and she was using it every day for a year. But when I bought it, and then, my original car, I'm driving around, I'm thinking, why do I have two cars? This is stupid, and then I kind of thought, I wish somebody would steal it. And then COVID happened, and for sure, I just I wish somebody would steal it. I wish it would get run over by a train, something. But there, I'm not gonna commit insurance fraud. But I had the gap insurance, that if you buy a car and how a car has more value than what you can get if it's stolen or damaged or whatever, it pays the difference. And so it wasn't like I was, please God, but I was kind of wishing that somebody would steal this car. Every day I'm looking on my community pages, and it's cars are being stolen. Even today, I'm seeing somebody's car stolen. Every day, cars, trucks, vans are being stolen. And I'm thinking how much I wanted my car back then stolen, and other cars were being stolen, and nobody stole my car. And it wasn't like it was being parked in a, garage. And this was before I even got a club for it, But, nobody stole it. Nobody, did anything to it. And, I know in about 20, when was it? It was 2022, around October is when, we moved in with my mom. I may be all off on these dates, but around that time we decided to move in with my mom because I could see she needed some help or not help, but kind of like a watchful eye to make sure that, that she was doing things safely, and that if she needed help, that I could help her. And she's doing really great. And so we're here, and, I'm making some comment. I'm talking about, I, had up until that point never had COVID, and worked the hospital through the whole, pandemic, never had COVID. And people would talk about their cars getting broken into. Never in my life have had my car broken into. Lived in this community since 1978, never had my car broken into. And then I've never had my car broken into ever, and never had COVID. And so my car is sitting out in my mother's driveway. Now my car has sat out always. I've never lived where I have had a garage. I did have one place I lived at that had a garage, but they converted the garage into a room. So it wasn't a garage. I've always had my car parked out in a driveway or on the street or under a carport. Never had my car broken into. So I'm here less than, I think, a week at my mom's house, a week or two. Somebody breaks the window of my car and rummages through it. There's nothing in it, really. I couldn't believe it. I walked out, my window's broken, so I call my insurance company. I tried to clean up the glass. The glass breaks into little pieces. It was a side window they broke. And, I got some mobile repair, fix the window. And to this day, when I'm cleaning my car, I still find it's shaking through the door. I guess just one little tiny piece of glass or something. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of glass. But it was just so annoying that happened. And also, I got COVID, and it was just like, boom, I said that, like, oh, I've never had my car. So I don't want to, I've always said that I don't want to say never, never say never. So yeah, I don't trust my car. I don't trust it. I don't trust that when I push the gas pedal, it acted the way it did. And now they're saying they're going to test drive it to make sure that it really is fixed. And it was just kind of like, to hear that, to really make sure it's fixed, that like, I thought this was the problem. It's going to be fixed. Like, how do I know this part isn't going to, I don't know. I'm not taking any more cross country road trips in this car. I know that for sure. I don't like these cars. I don't like that they're so dependent upon computer chips and stuff. To me, I don't know, should I jump on a train if I want to take a trip, or a plane? I just don't like that. I guess I think it's my anxiety. I don't want to be up in a plane and then have it be faulty and fall down to earth. My husband always says planes don't fall out of the sky. Yeah, they have. It just seems like an awful experience to experience, but I guess that's life. You just have to hope your guardian angels are there protecting you and are guiding you to the great beyond, of where I hope that when I go there, there's a buffet of chocolate. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, I am Laura at Laura Talk Softer. I am here with a blanket because I noticed that, you see part of my PJs, and I'm not a exhibitionist. Anyway, have a good day. Be kind to people that you meet. You never know what somebody's going through. I follow somebody on Facebook. I've never met her in person, but she's had a lot of health problems, serious, life-threatening, terminal illness, and you would look at her and just think that she is healthy, but unfortunately she's not, but she's hanging in there. I don't think she knows I have a YouTube, but yeah, and it's not somebody faking it or pretending it. It's, I know people who know her. But anyway, I hope that all is well. Take care. Be kind. Be kind to yourself, too. Drink some water, get your veggies, get your fruit. I've been rambling 17 minutes, 44 seconds, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. I'll stop it right at 18 minutes. All right. Toodles. Oh, it's almost there. It's almost there. Bye-bye. Can I hit it right? Like a video game.